Hi. It's been a while, and as some of you already know from the small streams on Twitch I've done, that I have this 2D live model of myself, and it's super useful. Like, I don't have to redraw myself for segments like this when I'm just talking. And disclaimer, I am not a VTuber. I am very much a real person, as you can see. It's just, I really love the technology that I can utilize for fun stuff like this. And yeah, on to the main topic. So it's almost the end of 2020 when this video is hopefully releasing, and because of the coronavirus, I mean that too, but you know what, like no conventions have been going on over here, so I thought maybe I share some convention stories to remember some better times, or not so better times. I'll tell y'all a bit about my first con to start off. So the major anime con that happens here is Anime North. I think my first time going was in like 2014, like the same year I started watching anime pretty much. It's only been 6 years since then, but the thing is, I don't actually remember who told me about conventions. I just knew they existed, like Comic Con or something, but I never really thought about them happening near me. My most fond memory of my first con is just like the feeling of it. So my personality type, the Myers-Briggs thing, is ISFP. It says that I'm like an adventurer. So me at an anime con felt super liberating. Like, I was able to go to a place where my most prominent interest at the time was the focus, and there were things I couldn't normally buy around me, like figures and merch, like readily available. It was a playground for me. So I was only supposed to go for just one day on Friday. It was so much fun. I ended up going another day. I didn't even have a proper ride home. I had to find some of my friends who were still there just to give me a ride. I think Nick and his cousin are the ones who ended up actually giving me a ride home. I remember like even stressing, like just to find a ride home was fun. So next I'll give you guys my most traumatic one. This was at Fan Expo 2017. My uncle was taking me, but he ended up coming late with the passes, so I only got to go for about 2 hours, but crazily enough, we found like two passes on the floor. I know, right? Like, what are the chances? The passes for Fan Expo are paper wristbands with just a flat neon color, so I knew I could easily use the ones I found. My uncle was busy the next day, so I had one of my friends use the pass. On the next day of Fan Expo, I went with a few friends, and we're at the vendor's floor, right? So we're looking at some figures, and I remember this table from Anime North as well. They sell like uncommon secondhand figures from Japan at like a jacked up price. I know this for certain because I found the same figure one of my friends bought for $100 for like 20 online. So we're looking, and I notice a Kill la Kill figure. I nudge my friend. I'm like, yo, look, there's a Ryuko there. He doesn't see it, so I point over to it, and as I pull my hand back, I knock one of the closer figures off the table, and it shatters on the floor. Everyone around looked over, and I just fucking froze. Like, I didn't even pick up the pieces. I just stared at it, shattered on the floor. And my friend picked up the pieces instead of me. He hands them to the guy working there, and I just finally like snap back to reality, and I'm like shaking. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'll pay for it. And his manager came over and asked, he's like, hey, did we lose one? He takes the figure pieces, inspects it, and then snaps the pieces back together, because apparently it was one of those 5-part figures that like snap together, so it didn't actually break. But in my mind, something like actually broke. To this day, whenever I see that table at like another con, I don't even think about approaching it because I'm still so traumatized from it. Ugh. So let's talk about International Fan Festival 2019. So in 2019, there were talks around this new convention happening called International Fan Festival, and I decided to go to it. They had the main voice actors from Fate Stay Night, Shiro, Saber, Rin, Sakura coming and doing an autograph session, so I'm like, dude, I need this. So I remember lining up for the autograph session, and it was really bad. Like when the line was already formed, people kept like butting in to where the line entered the actual sign-in thing. It was annoying, but I eventually got to the booth. But the voice actors had like tight schedules, right? So they had to go right when I got to the booth. They were right there in front of me. Like, I was breathing the same air as them. I remember going home like omega sad, dude. Like, I was right there, man. They're like this close. Later that same night, one of my seniors from high school, Christian, messaged me saying that he saw that I was at Fan Festival today and was volunteering as staff there. I told him how I like lined up and couldn't get an autograph, and he told me that the staff there were getting a secret autograph session, and he wasn't really a Fate Stay Night fan, so he offered to try and get something signed for me. And he said even sure that there were no guarantees and that he isn't sure how special their special autograph thing is or how many he could get. But yeah, I met him the next day and gave him my poster and hope for the best. But on the second day, I was still determined to get an autograph on my own too. So I stood in line once again. I don't actually remember how it started, but I started talking to someone else in line. Her name was Naru. She was boothing there trying to get manga signed. We talked about how the line was really ass yesterday and how it was looking it was gonna be pretty ass again. Today this time they had like a cutoff point and dispersed everyone who wasn't in front of the cutoff point, and sadly, yeah, we weren't in the cutoff point. But the thing is that pissed me off was there were people like sneaking behind the staff and just inserting themselves into the sign line. I'm just like, come on, dude. Her booth was pretty close to the signing thing, so we kind of just chilled there and talked a while. She let me put my bag at the booth so I didn't have to carry it around. After the signing there wasn't too much to do, so I went around like talking to other artists there and talking about the series they had at their booths. It was actually really comfy. Later on, I found Christian working the sound system for the stage, and someone in a Saber Ultra cosplay came to talk to him for the mic stuff because she was gonna perform next. And since I was literally like right there with him, like I kind of also talked to her too. After talking for a bit, I took a seat and watched her perform. After her performance, there was like a small crowd around her, and she was like selling some of her charms, and I ended up trading her one of my charms for one of hers. We also exchanged socials too. I found out that Saber Alter was Yumemi, a Canadian J-pop idol and now VTuber too. So on to the last day, I saw Naru there at her booth and we went to go see if we could get something signed. We checked out the line, but they changed their lineup format and they made sections for each voice actor instead of all of them. You could only get one signature because the lineups were equally long. Naru basically gave up at that point and went back, but I went to the back of the line and the staff around there would say things to us like, if you're at this point, you're probably not gonna get in. Kinda rude, you know, but whatever. So the signing starts and they don't just feed the lines in like they look like they were gonna do. They start picking people at random to enter the actual sign-in thing. And yeah, they didn't pick me, so I just went back to go chill at Naru's. Naru needed to sell her inventory because it was the last day of the con, so I taped 2 pieces of paper to the back and the front of me that said 50% off to help advertise some of her stuff. I'm like 90% sure it didn't work, but I had fun doing it. So the next day, Christian got back to me with the poster I'd given him, and he showed it to me. And he didn't just get like 1 or 2 signatures, he got all the signatures. So again, Christian, thank you so much, dude. This will be cherished in my family for generations. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I want to give a huge thank you to the friends that cameoed in this video, and a special thank you to Naru and Yumemi. You can find everyone's links timestamped in the description. And I'm so sorry this video took so long. I really tested like my physical limits for how much I could manage like my time to do videos and like school and like the length of it. I probably won't be able to do super long story vids like this. I'll probably stick to shorter story format. I already have a few in mind, so stay tuned. But yeah, please remember to smash that like button, subscribe, all that jazz, and yeah, I hope you all have a good one. Bye!